Story 1. Good communication is constant and open. By constant, I don't mean you literally always need to be in touch with each other. Just that it should be consistent, and you shouldn't wait longer than necessary to bring up something important. If something needs to be talked about, let's talk about it and figure it out together. Just tell or ask me whatever it is. Story 2. I personally prefer a heads up, and if it's really a bombshell, don't do it the night before my big presentation to my client's chief executive officer or the morning of my brother's wedding. Other than that, book a time, sit me down, and lay it out like you're making a hamburger. State the problem at a high level in 1 or 2 short sentences. Bread. Lay the foundation of how this came about. Meat. Get to the main point. Fixings. Any pertinent details. Maximum of 3. Ketchup. Say something sweet and reassuring. Bread. Top it with context of what's going to happen next. Then let me eat and digest it before we start to discuss it. Story 3. Honestly, I'd like to think of myself as open-minded and wanting a relationship with good communication, but everyone has moments of frustration and stubbornness where they don't want to have a conversation about criticism. I think in those moments when you're annoyed, if my girlfriend or wife were to come up to me saying, "Hey, I was hoping we could talk about something that's been bothering me lately," I'd react positively to it. I've seen it my whole life where couples don't know how to communicate, and it turns into an argument, and the problems linger. Softening the seriousness of the conversation by delivering it in a soft and comforting tone will get your partner to realize that they should return the favor and be open to it. Story 4. Whatever it may be, ensure you are both sober. Discussions about emotional issues are best had in unemotional times. Meaning, do not bring up something if either of you are in any heightened state of emotion. For example, if you're having a bad day, don't use that as an excuse to vent your frustrations. Going into discussions with a clear, healthy mind ensures the best possible outcome for all. Ambushing is never fair. Ensure you are both ready to talk, and be willing to postpone if you're not both ready. Clear communication is an ongoing, fluid process that needs ongoing maintenance. Just like having one epic moment does not mean you have a healthy relationship overall. A successful conversation is good, but must be followed up on and acknowledged in your future actions. Also, probably best not to be hungry, perhaps order a pizza. Story 5. I told my girlfriend that I'm not a mind reader and that she can and should tell me everything, the good and the bad, and she does. Honest communication can resolve all issues. Quick and painless, and everyone is happy. Story 6. My wife and I vary in how we communicate. We both can be better at writing things down sometimes rather than verbally explaining. When something comes up, I know that my wife needs processing time before she will be able to put her thoughts into words because she likes to have come to a conclusion before she talks through things. I often need to write or type things, so I'll give her a heads up that I'm processing something and that she'll be receiving a lengthy text message when I figure it out. The key to both methods is that we let the other know we're working on something and then be patient while the other does their thinking, even though the suspense can be rough. Other times we just start talking, and things come out naturally as well. But it's nice knowing there are a couple of acceptable options. Story 7. Depends on the topic. If it's something light and low pressure, let's do it now. We'll both agree to stop what we're doing for a moment and talk it over. If it's serious, let's schedule a time where we can focus on it together. I want to be able to word what I have to say carefully and give you time to respond in kind. You don't need to bring bullet points to the meeting, but I don't want to be blindsided by something huge while we're brushing our teeth. Story 8. I love the way my wife approaches me with uncomfortable topics. She has a few buzz phrases that tell me to buckle up, so I usually know this isn't going to be a chat about what she wants for dinner. She knows to get right to the point because sugarcoating things is for kids who can't handle tough discussions. We also have rules of engagement for arguing. We don't scream or yell at each other. No personal attacks. Ever. The first one who does loses the argument and leaves the room until they find their calm. When someone leaves the room, we always let them go cool off so we can continue the conversation. Healthy communication can only occur when both people feel like they're being heard, so I will often repeat what she said back to me in a different way to make sure we are on the same page. Sometimes we aren't, So getting my head around what she is saying always helps to move the conversation along. It isn't perfect, but it works for us. Story 9. Laughing out loud, all the dudes in here who are like, just give it to me straight, have never actually had it given to them straight. The dudes who will tell you this will complain in the same breath. Why are women such difficult people? Give it to me straight is 99% of the time just a dump of raw feelings that is usually super emotional and filled with intensity and almost always makes the problem worse before it gets better. Talk about the problem, but also frame it from the perspective of how it makes you feel. If it's something that I've done or need to change, how do my actions affect you? What do you want to gain by bringing this up? What needs to change? For example, someone who says, you need to clean up more, you never clean, why do you never clean? Is just going to come off as nagging. A guy will see that and think, okay, I need to clean more. And maybe he does it, maybe he doesn't. I found that you need to clean more is much more well received when you say, I feel like you don't value me when you say you will clean and you don't. And I feel like you don't respect me. That's not nagging. That's a direct conveyance of feelings coupled with the desired action. I think that guys want the second part but aren't very aware that they have to be very specific and ask for that. They say, oh yeah, just let it loose, don't hold back, and get surprised when their partner shares all their feelings with them. This behavior has to be reciprocated as well. I think a lot of guys want to behave like this, so they say they're okay with it. I'd bet a lot of money that they're not. Nobody likes to be yelled at. So it's important to practice what you preach in this department. Story 10. My wife and I have this funny tradition. When things need to be discussed, we start with, hey, I need to talk to you. The other person goes, oh no, am I in trouble? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. In this case, it sounds like a yes. If it's a yes, we do a device timeout. I'd bury myself in my phone when I get upset. It's a terrible habit, and this boundary has been good for me. From there, we kind of just lay out our perception of whatever issue is going on. And when things start to get heated and we become irate, we take time to really stop and think about our responses or answers. Like sometimes we will go 20 to 30 minutes and take a break from the discussion. But as soon as that person is ready to provide their response, we go back to that mode. We try our best to find a resolution that day. If that's not possible and we need to go to bed, we make sure the other person knows they are loved and that we will solve it soon. Now, we're not like Vulcans. Sometimes we have gotten too spun up. But if it gets too bad, either person can say they need to take a break, and one person will go to another room and calm down. We have found that this thoughtful, dispassionate, and respectfully attentive discussion has been the key to our almost 10 years of relationship. Story 11. I want you to tell me what's wrong, but don't get angry or sad, or I will get angry and sad. If I see you are actually okay, I will be okay. My girlfriend fails to do this. She goes, this thing bothered me a lot, and starts getting upset, and I get defensive, frustrated, and nervous. Then she says, I can't tell you anything without you getting all hurt. I tell her that she could have said all that in a nicer way, but to each their own, I guess. Luckily, these discussions are a rare event as I check on her often to make sure everything is going well. Also, try to make me feel like it is us versus the problem, like you want to help me solve it together with you and not make it about you versus me. We are both in this relationship. If I made a mistake, okay, that's on me, but be with me on the solution. Hope this makes sense, though. Story 12. Find a place and a time for it. Do not bring it up if I am in the middle of an exciting video game or just about to head into the shower. Do bring it up if we have just finished dinner and nothing else is happening. And then be really blunt and clear about it, but also give the benefit of the doubt and try to understand the other person's position. Story 13. Be direct. The problem may be partly your fault too, so be ready to listen to his perspective. Men like to solve problems. Be prepared for it to be resolved and make changes in both your lives. Story 14. With as little emotion as humanly possible and maybe a little charm. Anger will get you nowhere. It's also nice to hear an expected solution to the issue. My response is usually, I understand the problem and this is the behavior change that will be implemented. If it isn't suitable, we will discuss it again. Story 15. Calmly. One-on-one. in an environment that is easy for both parties to leave. Do not start yelling at me while I am driving with other people in the car. I would rather sit down at a table and discuss what we need to there than have a public argument and air out our dirty laundry for everyone to see. Story 16, Pillow Talk. My ideal right now would be during the day we do our loving couple stuff and live our lives. At night, we talk about the serious stuff. Just say, hey, I really don't like it when I don't know if you were right when it really bothered me when we decide on everything together, no ultimatums, and sometimes if we can't agree, we'll decide to talk about it another night or just keep it in mind and try not to upset the other person in the future. Good communication is about being honest not just with your partner, but with yourself as well. You have to be real if something really is bothering you, because if you bury it thinking, I don't want to bother them, then it'll just sit and grow until eventually you find yourself hiding all kinds of things, and before you know it, you've killed the relationship. I'm far from an expert or experienced though, so that's just me. Story 17. I statements. Tell me how my actions are making you feel and why it is making it difficult for you to enjoy the relationship. It will be hard for me to dismiss your concerns when presented that way. Jam a finger in my face and tell me what a screw-up I am? I'll decide all you've earned is more misery, and I'll make it a point to tell you so. Story 18. As soon as possible. As plainly as possible. With as few questions as possible. Tell me what's bothering you, and let's get on with it. I have said a day arguing with you is better than a calm day without you. Story 19. Make it a conversation, not a lecture or upset rant. It should be clear and not conveyed as if everything is my fault. I had an ex who would redirect and shoot down issues I had, but would get super aggressive if I did anything tiny she didn't like. If you complain too much, it becomes rude and annoying. We've got to work as a team and clearly lay out things. Story 20. Might be obvious, but use non-blaming friendly words like we and I feel, and not you, when talking about the issue. If it feels like finger-pointing, he'll likely feel attacked and become defensive. Remember that it's not me versus you, it's us against the problem. That said, don't sugarcoat it either. Ask if he can let you speak without interruption, and get your point across as clearly as possible. Give him time to digest it because he is likely thinking of ways the issue can be solved. And of course, always end on a positive note. Story 21. How as soon as possible, long before she is really hurting. Good communication for me is to bring the issues to the table with a, we have this here. How can we deal with it? Instead of letting it marinate until it becomes a you did, I did struggle. Story 22. Well, we have reached the point in our marriage where if something bothers us and we need to approach the subject, we just ask ourselves first before we say anything. We think, T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is what I'm about to say inspiring? And is it necessary? K, is it kind? If you answer no to any of those, first think about what you are about to discuss and how you are about to discuss it in order to get a yes for all of them. A discussion need not be an argument. Your discussion must never turn into a blame game or a chance to attack each other. Focus on the issue and only on resolving that issue. Come with ideas and suggestions on your own of how you propose to resolve the issue. Sometimes just raising an issue without an idea of how you would resolve it can be frustrating to the accused, as the person being accused might not have thought about this issue as much as you have. Allow them time to mull it over, so don't always expect a response then and there. Give them 30 minutes or so to think it over and then revisit the subject. If it gets heated, end the conversation. It will require either of you to do this. Have a safe word, ours is ice cream. If either of you start getting angry or feel like things are devolving into a fight, say the safe word that you both agree to. This means both of you must stop and give each other space for an agreed amount of time to cool off and then resume. The safe word cannot be used to escape a conversation. The conversation must still happen. The time away is to think about how to better approach an opinion that either of you clearly have a difference on. Nothing meaningful is said in anger, but don't box the issue. It must be discussed at some point, or it will fester like an infected wound, and putting a band-aid on it won't help. The best time to have honest conversations is dependent on the couple. Don't do it over dinner, first thing in the morning, or late at night. Plan it. Tell your significant other, I have something to chat to you about. It's important to me. Let me know when it's a good time to chat. The onus is on them then to let you know when they are ready. If they say, "Yup, let's chat now," then go for it. If after you have started, they seem unreceptive, suggest a different time to talk about it. But give them no illusion that the conversation is never going to happen.